quite interactive as possible. So yeah, before this, when Yemi was talking, he gave a very good foundation about what Scrum is, and we learned certain things that I would like us to like keep in our end. He talked about the pillars. I use an acronym TIA. T stands for transparency, I stands for inspection, and A stands for adaptation. And he also talked about the Scrum values. I use C4C for that: commitment, focus, openness, respect, and courage. So all of this principles, all of these values, pillars, forms the basis of what we are going to discuss. So you would hear me mention inspect and adapt a lot. So when you hear me mention inspect and adapt, you know that yes, I'm referring to the basics that has been laid, the foundation that was laid. And come to think of it, we said Scrum is a lightweight framework, and it's used by teams and organization, to deliver, to generate value, like create value, and this is achieved through adaptive solutions. So what is that light framework? What makes it light? How do we go about the iteration? Like, how do we deliver solution in chunks? The Scrum events explains this better. So when you say Scrum events, we all know what events means, right? Today is Saturday. If not for election, a lot of people would have gone to one party or the other. That's an event. Meetings can also be classified as events. A number of things can be called or referred to as events. So under the Scrum framework, we also have our Scrum events. And if you say the Scrum events, these are formal opportunities, formal meetings, formal events, so to say, that helps us carry out this our iterative iterative delivery of value. So, and I love the explanation where Yemi was talking about wanting to create a car, starting with a skateboard, going to a scooter, then you go to maybe a tricycle before you get to a vehicle. At each level that you are delivering these things, at that point where you created the skater, you get feedback from your customers, that okay, they want something that they can put their two hands on while their leg is on something. The first time where you create that skate, that is an iteration. That is a short time that you are able to deliver value to your customer. And after delivering it, you go back to get feedback from your customer. Then you now adapt whatever solution or feedback that you've gotten from your customer into the next iteration again. And at the end of that iteration, you supply or deliver another value to your customer. And that is how the cycle continues. So the Scrum event presents a perfect opportunity. It creates that structure where all these principles, iterative delivery of value would play out. And I'll start with what is called the sprint. So this is sprint. I think I have another slide where I would explain where I have more details. So sprint is where you plan, you do, you check, and you act. It is a container event. So all the other events in Scrum, they are put how do I put it now? We all know the onion bulb. You know that there is that outer shell of it that is at times very dry. Then you have other layers inside of it. That outer layer, see it as the sprint. So the sprint is that container event where you plan, you do, you check, and you act. So other layers is what you should now visualize as the sprint planning, the daily Scrum, the sprint review, and the sprint retrospective. Now, sprint planning, there you tackle the what, why you need to build, what you need to build, and why, or how, sorry, and how you would build. For daily Scrum, you talk about inspecting the progress towards whatever goal you set during your sprint planning session, and you adapt your sprint backlog to ensure that it delivers the sprint goal that is set during your sprint planning session. Then you come to sprint review that talks about, discusses progress towards what the sprint goal. So when you get to this sprint review, you are inspecting majorly. You are inspecting, and we discuss, okay, we said we were going to achieve this at the beginning of the sprint. Now we want to review our work. Let us assess us. Have we done, did we achieve this goal? If we did not achieve it, why didn't we achieve it? You get okay, while we achieved the goal, we noticed that in the next, this should be the next direction of where we should go as regards the particular product that we are building. And here you talk about the sprint retrospective, which is like the last or the final phase. That's the last event that closes what we call the Scrum events. And there you do what? You plan ways to increase quality and effectiveness. This has to do more with your team. So I'll go right into it. So I have others here: event, purpose, inspect, adapt. So what you are inspecting, what you're adapting, who should attend this event, then the time box. If you remember, Yemi talked about some of the principles of Scrum. He mentioned time boxing. Time boxing is something very important that Scrum cherishes or preaches a lot. So when you talk about your sprint, remember I told you that sprint is the container for all other events where ideas are turned into value. So that sprint is like that container that houses other things inside of it. So right there in this sprint, what are the things you look at? You would look at, or you inspect your product goal. So what is this product aiming to achieve? Let's say, for example, you want to build a website that can help everybody here learn about Scrum. Now, the purpose or the goal of that website or the product you are trying to build is to create a platform, a website that helps people learn or become Scrum Masters. That is the goal of that product. So when you get to, or when you want to start your sprint, you need to check what is the goal of the product. I remember Yemi talked a lot about getting into product and certain things we need to do. So while you check the product goal, you also check the product backlog. So if you remember the artifacts that Yemi talked about earlier, he mentioned that there are how many artifacts? Please, can I hear somebody talk? How many artifacts did Yemi talk about? He mentioned 3 artifacts.
3.
Can we hear
3.
them? Okay.
The
First one is what?
Backlog,
Okay.
product
The
backlog,
second?
sprint
Uh,
backlog, product increment.
Correct. Thank you very much. Please, somebody should help me give them good emojis. Thank you very much. Yeah, so at this point of sprints, when you are starting that sprint, you are focused on the first artifact, which is the product backlog. So before the whole product development commences, after your product manager or product owner, they've done all the product strategy, written the product requirement document and set the record straight as regards this is what we want to build. Now they have a product backlog, or like a list where they drop the requirements or the needs of these customers. Many a times these days they are written as user stories. So we write user stories to represent the needs of customers, and they are populated in what we call the product backlog. So the product backlog, it's an emerging list. So long that product is still existing, your product backlog will still keep emerging. Customers' needs, customers' requirements, everything will still keep going back to the backlog. So when you want to start a sprint, you turn to your product backlog, you check there and say, okay, now one of the responsibilities of the product manager, product owner that Yemi talked about earlier was ordering the product backlog. So they must have prioritized. Something that we would also learn about, or like in our journey in product, is product prioritization. How do we prioritize our product? So they probably would have prioritized it. Okay, so we want to create a website, but the first basic thing we want to do is this: we want people to be able to get at least basic information on the landing page. That is where we want to start. Then they will prioritize or write the user story such that getting basic information on the landing page will be the first item on the product backlog. So when you now get to are going to sprint planning next, I'll connect this with sprint planning. So that is one of the things that would be checked during sprint, or when you want to start your sprint. Increments would also be checked. Okay, what do we want to do? What is that thing we want to deliver at the end of this sprint? Then yeah, while during this sprint, what you will be adapting is also the product backlog. You will keep adapting, making changes to your product backlog and increments. Attendees, the entire Scrum team are responsible for the sprint, like the entire sprint. They own that sprint, the Scrum team. And usually, sprint is time boxed 1 month or less. So you can hear these days, it is very common to hear people say that 2 week sprint, 2 week sprint. In fact, to an extent, they are even people are already imposing even that 2 weeks on a lot of people, which is not right. We should allow people choose what works best for them. So a normal sprint should run from 1 month or less. So it could be 1 month, it could be 3 weeks, it could be 2 weeks, it could even be a week, depending on what works for your team. Then you come to talk about the sprint planning. So for your sprint planning, the purpose is to plan the work that will be performed within what a particular sprint, this period we've chosen. Now here, what do you inspect? You inspect your sprint goal, what I was explaining just a few minutes ago. You inspect your product goal, then what's your product backlog rather. From your product backlog, you know what your product goal is. Then why the sprint is valuable is also something you inspect. We need to understand why that sprint. Why do we want to start with giving basic information on the landing page? What will this do to people that wants to learn about Scrum? That's one of the things that will be inspected. Then what can be done this sprint? So if we know that we want to give people the basic information, the question is what and what can we put together that forms or that would help us deliver what we want to deliver in these sprints to help people learn more about Scrum? And how will the chosen work get done is another thing that would happen during the sprint backlog. Then you adapt your sprint goal. So during the sprint, one thing again that we need to understand is this. So as much as it is good to plan, when we plan for a sprint and we start working, one thing that guides the Scrum team once a sprint start or at that sprint planning period or session is the sprint goal, what we want to achieve for that sprint. So whatever that you have chosen, the items you have chosen into your sprint backlog can actually change or be adapted so long it does not alter or changes your sprint goal. When we read or study the Scrum guide deeply to tell us what happens when your sprint goal is obsolete, So all of this from the sprint backlog. Then you talk about attendees. So who are to attend this? The Scrum team, SMEs can be invited. So during your sprint planning session, possible, like that's why I have the word here, can. They can. It's not compulsory, like you don't necessarily need them. But at the planning stage, if they choose to have a representative or something, I don't think it's bad for the subject matter experts to, and in fact, one of the reasons why they are even needed, in particular subject matter experts, during your sprint planning session, you could have certain things that are not clear to you, that maybe perhaps you couldn't trash out during your refinement session or something. If they are there during the sprint planning session, well, perhaps they could be of help. Then time box for this is 8 hours according to the Scrum guide. We have daily Scrum. I think I need to run now. We have the daily Scrum. So the daily Scrum, the purpose is to improve communication and identify impediments to promote quick decision making. So during the daily Scrum, like people also call daily Scrum, another word for it is daily stand-up. Long before now, the way they do daily stand-up, people like development team work together physically before remote work becomes a thing. They meet together in a room, everybody stands up, and within 15 minutes, they communicate, oh yeah, this is what is happening, this is the work I'm doing. Oh yeah, there's an impediment here, I would like to discuss this with you or to clarify this and stuff like that. Within 15 minutes, voila, they are done with whatever they want to do. One of the reasons why Scrum even says they should start, is it Scrum? One of the reasons why the practice, why people stand is At least if you stand for 15 minutes, you won't get, Yemi was talking about focus earlier. You won't overtalk, and just talk your time away, and forget that you are expected to go into other proper work of the day. And one of the reasons again is this: whatever blocker that you want to trash out during your daily scrum or daily stand-up, it might not affect some other people. But if you keep everybody in that meeting, you are holding everybody down. Another person that his work is not dependent on what you are trying to clear would also be held down. So that's why there we can actually track. Pardon me if I'm not going in order as it is here, just trying to ensure that I manage my time as well. One of the very important things we do during the what's it called, daily scrum, is to ensure that yes, we can track impediments, we can report them, then we can use that opportunity to like contact necessary people, look into people to maybe escalate the matters. So Yemi talked about escalation earlier, necessary people to escalate issues to, as a scrum master, one of your responsibilities is facilitating the removal of impediments. Like at times your developer might have an issue with his branch or something. You as the scrum master, you might not be technical, you don't know what to do, but then there might be somebody else on the team that can help, can facilitate. Oh guy, who can help and stuff like that. These are some of the things that happens during daily scrum. You adapt your sprint backlog. The daily scrum is majorly for developers. Majorly, it is made for developers and by developers. They own it. It is their, and that's where Yemi talked about self-organizing earlier. The developers are expected to be able to self-organize. But these days where we are still like in the old sea of agile adoption and transformation, Scrum Masters join. The responsibility of Scrum Masters majorly is just to ensure that this event holds. But then Scrum Master joins, help them through this phase and bring their team to that point where they are self-organizing, and it's 15 minutes. Sprint review, as I mentioned earlier, it's review the accomplished work of the sprint. After your sprint, you can adapt your sprint backlog, move things from here to your sprint backlog. Key who should attend attendees, the Scrum team, and also the key stakeholders, time box 4 hours, sprint retrospective. You talk about, and this particular one is something that is very important. Your team needs to talk and discuss after every sprint. Check your processes. How did we work? Are there things that we didn't do well? Is this tool giving us issue? Do we need to escalate or change these tools? Sprint retrospective gives us that opportunity to inspect our processes, how we interacted with ourselves. Maybe I'd annoyed Yemi or Anwo or Funsho or somebody during the sprint, and maybe he didn't have the opportunity to communicate well to me because of whatever. That's another opportunity. Maybe not to, well, largely not to witch hunt or throw punches, but to, hey, yeah. So I noticed this. It's not that I'm angry, but I just thought to call your attention to this. I would like you to, like, when the work is done, you can communicate if you notice that I don't respond within this. I might be doing XYZ, where we understand ourselves and set things right. That's what retrospective is about. And it is strictly for the Scrum team and 3 hours. I know somebody, did somebody raise up his or her hand? Oh, did I stop sharing my screen? Apologies. I was going to shut in. So, okay, maybe in order to avoid distraction, so maybe we can just drop our questions. Pardon me, you can drop our questions so that at the end of this conversation we can come there. So that is majorly all about the sprint events. If you have a question, you can drop it. Okay, let me ask this question before I go to team development. So of all these events, please, you can use the chat box. Of all these events, which one do you think, or would you say, that is the most important? Please use the chat box. Use the chat, use the chat, use the chat. Which of these Scrum events will you say is the most important? Let's check something. Are we still here? Please, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for that feedback. So which one? Or if you think everything is very important, you can just type in everything. Let's get that feedback. Please, I want to get your feedback before I move on. Feedbacks. You can turn on your mic. I just have 30 seconds for this before I move into team development. Oh, so none of it is important. Wow. Okay, maybe our people are still shy. Well, okay. Anwo, your hand,
Yeah,
you raise
yeah,
your
yeah.
hand.
Before you go to the next item, I still have questions on the Scrum event.
Scrum event. Okay. Should we trash it out now? So I'm scared if we delve into it. I'm not sure we'll be able to go into it. Can you? Is it possible you type it? Let's check if it's something that we can quickly touch. We do that. Something that we can come back to after, so that we have enough time to answer questions. That might work as well. So you can just help type it into the chat box. Okay, so let's go to team development. So Yemi talked about Scrum teams earlier, and yeah, another question for the house, please indulge me. So the Scrum team composes of three accountabilities. What are they? The Scrum team composes of three accountabilities. What are those accountability or roles? Pardon me, roles, functions. The Scrum team. Anybody? Anyone? Oh wow.
Sorry, do you mean the pillars of Scrum?
No, some like the Scrum team now. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, the Scrum team, there is so when we talked about the Scrum team, we talk just like in project manager, we talk about the project team. We say that the project team are the set of people that do the job, like they carry out the project that is set to be achieved, or like to ensure that the project goal is achieved. Also, in a Scrum team, we have three major accountabilities. One of them is the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master is part of the team. The product owner is part of the team. And we have like a sub team called the development team. And the development team here refers to the developers. You can talk about your front end guy, your back end guy, QAs when you have QAs, the DevOps. Mention them, all of them altogether can be categorized as development teams. So please let's not forget we have the Scrum Master, we have the product owner, then we have the development team. So now this team passes through different stages. So when we talk about team development, I said here that developing or delivering usable value, that's products to customers, requires a competent and high performing team. It is not a new thing. You would hear that or founders these days are advised, please hire great talent, get good people on your team. It is very, very important. And that is why team is very important. And as I said here, I said, as the saying goes, teamwork makes the dream what? Work. If there is a team and they are not working together and they are not growing together, what happens? Your dream might not eventually be achieved. Your goal, the product, that dream. And sincerely, what is all the Scrum thing? It is turning ideas into reality, turning somebody's dream. Somebody dared to dream about something, and another person what gathered people together to what to make that dream work, to bring that dream to reality. You understand? So how does this team grow? How do they like work together without frictions? Scrum masters are required to know their team. I think, sorry, it's a mistake, and facilitate their team's growth. So yeah, I'll be using or focusing on what I call the Toxman model. The Toxman model. Now, if we see this particular graph here, this talks about effectiveness, like how effectiveness flows and time. So two things are very important here for team to grow. Um, when you assemble a team or people together to do or carry out a particular task or deliver on a project, it is not always easy. Now, as Scrum Masters, one of the stances that we learned earlier talked about coaching, talked about teaching. It takes a lot for you as the Scrum Master to help your team mature, to help your team work together. You bring people that don't know themselves, have different backgrounds, different experiences, bring them together, and yeah, you as the Scrum Master, you are there to facilitate the team's effectiveness, the team's growth. Facilitate that the team delivers as expected of them. So that's why we have the effectiveness axis here that shows, okay, so what is the progression like in their effectiveness, and does it take time in relation to what? To time. So at the point where they are starting, what happens now? There is the formation stage, there is the storming stage, there is the norming stage, there is the performing stage. You can see what is being handed over here. It looks like, yeah, good things are happening. Then the adjourning here, what the trophy is what's delivered. So I'll be going into each of these very quickly. I'll be touching up on all those five models. So I'll start with forming. So the forming stage, this is the first stage this is the first stage the team goes through. And it's when members of the team first come together. So the stage where the back end guys, the front end guys, the what is it called? Maybe QA, the product designer, where everybody is coming together. We are doing product briefing, and want to start the whole work. Everybody is still respecting one another. I see. Let me use the names of people on this call. I see Naza, I see Somi, and I respect them. Oh, Madam Naza, being very cautious. Oh, yeah, Mr. Anwo, like at this point of forming or the forming stage, the feeling members of the team has is, oh, yeah, there's that excitement that, yeah, we're about to start something new. You get, optimistic. Yeah, we can deliver now. Yeah, this is not this. Yeah, it's something that we can do, as well, full of anticipation. Yeah, we can do it. Yeah, let's see what happens next. While they are doing that, they are also having suspicion, and that is the delicate nature of humans. While they are excited because they are now relating with people that are to do the work together, they are getting suspicious. The way this guy is talking, are you sure this guy know anything like this? This guy will just blow up my work, or this front end guy, will he be able to like interpret my designs like this? I'm sure. God, guys, why didn't you hire another person? A lot of things, fear, anxiety keeps running through like the minds of team members. Uncertainty and apprehension sets in. Then what are now the visible behavior that happens? So when the team gathers together to talk, instead of them to show courage, that courageousness, being courageous rather, they start sticking to certain safe topics. Like they limit themselves to things they would say. They like don't go all out because yes, I don't want to offend Anwo. No, something. If I go and say this one now, okay, let me not say this yet. They withdraw. That is when like politeness. There is this adage in Yoruba that speaks to some people that they will just be looking at you, they will be prostrating for you, but right in their hearts, they are knocking your head. All those sort of politeness that's not coming from the mind, tentative joining, like they are just, partially being part of the team and not fully into the team, They avoid controversy. Like if anything, no, don't worry, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. Stuff like that happens. Those are the visible behaviors you see in a team that is still forming, lack of understanding of the team goals and individual roles. Now, what should be the team's focus, or how should the team get out of this? Now, as a Scrum Master, this is where you also come in. Now, you are not the leader of the team, you are a servant leader, but you have a huge role in coaching the team to maturity, to growing, to delivering as expected. So what are the things that we can help the team to do? We can make clear the team goals and mission, organize orientation sessions. Like there should be no assumption. Make sure there is no assumption. Give enough information to people. Like let there be ground rules. One of the things I do when I join teams is I set like team agreements. Let us agree how we work together. No assumption of this is that and that is that. Everybody knows what is expected and required of them. We establish team processes and expectations and set one last thing that we also need to do to help the team through this. That especially the Scrum Master, we need to now work on setting out of our comfort zone. Because see, if we don't leave that comfort zone, if we don't leave that pretense of politeness and tentative journey, we will remain at that point and the team will not grow. The team will not develop and we will not be able to deliver on our goal. Next, I need to move fast. Screen. Okay, yeah. So storming is the next stage. The word alone, storming, gives us an idea of what storming is about. And when there is storm on the sea, everywhere does what? Everywhere shakes. At that point where people are now coming out, the Scrum Master's work is come, and that is where we say that Agile Scrum is not a silver bullet. It does not like solve your problem bam at once. Apply this. That's one thing that is wrong with a lot of businesses. They think immediately they apply or implement Scrum, everything should change. There should be, yes, it's your goal, blah, develop or release the product in the next 3 weeks, that, stuff like that. No. At that point where, as the team Scrum Master, you're helping your team set out of that comfort zone to be relaxed and work with everybody. That point where everybody is trying to like avoid controversy, they will now start attempting to take a step out. Now, there's going to be feelings of anger, frustration. God, how is this thing going like this? Are we going to do anything? When issues arise, they start becoming defensive because they are stepping out of their comfort zone. And at that point in time, they also need to protect themselves. So they get defensive. If anything comes like this, I'm stepping out of my comfort, does not mean that you should disrespect me, or when issues arise, defend yourself and not like taking responsibility for certain things. Concerns about being unable to meet its goal. Visible behaviors. Some start asserting themselves at this point of where people are also stepping out of their comfort zone. Some people are natural leaders, and they are being natural leaders. They don't know how to behave in a way that there's shared leadership. Some people as leaders, their leadership is to trample on people, step on their head, get them out of the way. They must do what, at that point in time, because everybody's also stepping out, there's less politeness, show of frustration, arguments begin to like well up at situations like this, and progress is impeded. So what should the team focus on? The team should refocus on the team goals. Bring people back. Yes, you are stepping out of your zone. This is not personal. You are not here to like fight anybody. I'm not here to fight Somi. Whatever I and Somi are trying to trash out is not about Somi. It is about the work. Focus on what we want to deliver. Yes. So that is where, if both of us have disagreement on certain things that we are to deliver, I'm not picking on you. Don't pick on anybody. It is the work. Get clarity. Let us spell everything out, and agree. Develop task-related skills. Conflict management is something that needs to top what the team will be doing at this point. Redefine team goals and roles and tasks, and also strive to listen to. So at this point, one of the things the Scrum Master would heavily be doing is what? Coaching people, encouraging everybody to strive to listen to one another. So, when I listen well, I know that this guy, what is pointing at is not coming for me. He's just trying to ensure that this job that we need to deliver, we deliver well. So at that point in time, when we start listening to one another and start understanding one another, we come to the norming stage, and members devise new ways of working together. So at this stage, because we are now listening, paying attention to one another and calming down, we are refocusing on what we want to deliver. Team members experience a sense of comfort. They start feeling comfortable, in their skin, just feeling comfortable with one another. Yeah, I think I can work with this person now. Oh, okay, yeah, it's not coming for me, feeling increased confidence, increased acceptance of team members, sense of belonging. Yeah, they start trusting. That's another thing that happens. Now, what are the visible behaviors? Okay, members make conscious effort to remove impediments or achieve team harmony. So because I now understand you, I can go a mile to ensure that, yes, I help you. Oh, Yemi talked about something earlier where he talked about self-organizing. Yeah, something happened. I can go out or take an extra go an extra mile to ensure that I help you solve your problem, impediment, just to ensure that our team work in harmony, we work together. Willingness to share ideas and feelings. Openness comes up at the norming stage. Yeah, at this norming stage, people start getting open. Members shift energy to team goals and focus on their task, focus on established ground rules and stuff like that. So while this is happening, should the team relax? No, the team should not relax. The team should also have direction to keep growing. Maybe it is at this stage, they've finished, or you are done with, or you've wasted one sprint or two sprints. That is when you are just start numbing, is there not that numbing stage? And that's, you need to seize the opportunity to scale to the next stage. So what would you do? You start evaluating your processes, encourage continuous collaboration and team interactions, promote members' contributions in decision making. So you don't just make decisions for people. You don't shut down people when they're making decisions. Once we start doing that, hearing other people, facilitating, ensuring that yes, everybody works together, it eventually leads to performance. So at the performing stage, people become highly productive and make significant progress towards their sprint goal. At this stage, when we are performing, we've spent two sprints, we've not, at least we've delivered something, but then that is when the team is norming. In the third sprint, at the end of the third sprint, fantastic, we achieve our sprint goal, deliver the fourth sprint, we deliver again, fantastic, everybody will be happy. Yay! Yeah, we are making things happen, members start feeling satisfied, with the progress of the team, confident in individual ability. That when we started, team members were suspecting that, can this front-end guy implement my design? Oh, this guy will not go and give me bad portfolio like this. Will I be able to share what? But at this performing stage, you start feeling comfortable or confident in individuals and team abilities, satisfactions in team's effectiveness, fun and excitement, attachment. In fact, this is another thing. Some start feeling attached to that team. And that is where, I don't know if this has happened to anybody before, when your team start performing at a very good point, if they want to take you out of that team, you used to struggle. You don't take me out of this team. You are now bonding and aligning with the team. And visible behaviors, high contentment, self-organizing and self-managing. Members are able to solve problems in team process and progress. Team members are willing to take on tasks and help one another. Uniqueness of team. So at this point, I respect your uniqueness. I know, yeah, you are fantastic. You are good at this. Oh, if you can't deliver this, no, I have that complementing skills to support you. Farm, working together. Teams focus. Continuous improvement. We don't sleep on our laurels. Scrum masters, we work with people to ensure there's continuous improvement. We maintain team flexibility. Let's keep it flexible. Let's hear people. Continuous flow of information, transparency, very open. Practice shared leadership. The last phase, adjourning. Now, when we have delivered, fantastic, we are right on point, and the project is wrapping up. This adjourning stage is the stage where the team is ready to end their work together. So at this stage, as a Scrum Master, you also need to manage this stage because else things will fall out. If it has not ended, it has not ended. You have 2 sprints to go, or your final sprint. Your final sprint can scatter your work. In fact, it can destroy everything. It can take you back to where you are coming from safe. So adjourning stage is also very important to manage as a Scrum Master. At this point, people start feeling anxiety. what happens after now? Sense of sadness and like sense of loss of change. Like, what change is going to happen? Like, what happens after this project, or this project is ending? Will I get another opportunity? Stuff like that. At this point, members becomes less focused. Like, they start losing focus, and that is where you, as a Scrum Master or other team members, needs to come in. You need to work together to ensure that at this final lap, you can imagine you are running relay race. First, you've gone, second, third. The final person is now like slowing down. It will just make another person overtake. That's why we need to like ensure that, and at this point, productivity may drop. You get so at this stage, we need to ensure complete. Okay, yeah, we need to work with the team. At least ensure that we complete any deliverable or and close pending task, close deliverables that are pending. Ensure that you help the team stay focused till the end to wrap up whatever is pending. And after that as well, teams should come together to evaluate their efforts, document their lessons. In project management, we call it lessons learned meeting. In Scrum, we call it Scrum sprint retrospective. Have that session, learn, and whatever you learn, if there's another team that will be taking over, or you are moving it to some set of people, pass on that. You can even share it with stakeholders or management or whoever the case may be. Then close by celebrating individuals and team accomplishment. Very important. Don't let everything just slide away like that. This is my last slide. So what are the qualities? What are the things that we look out for in high-performing teams? Effective communication is paramount, very important. High level of collaboration, self-organizing and self-managing is something that is top priority. Continuous improvement, value-driven team, like they are value-driven. It's not about the work, it's not about activity, it's about value. Thank you very much. Questions and answer. Anybody? Thank you, guys.
Awesome, Gabriel. There'll be question and answer. I'm sure there are chats already will read out. So just permit me to share my screen and leave it at the function job, the function responsibility of Scrum Master, so we can use that
Okay.
to answer any question, right?
All right.
Yeah, so we just relate that with it. Just let me know if you guys can see my screen. Can you see my screen yet? Or anybody see my screen?
Yeah, your screen is up now.
Okay, yeah, Gabriel, over to you. So I think there are some questions you might want to go back, then yeah.
Oh wow. Well,
At any point, if you need me, let me just know.
Okay, I'm trying to even look for the question. Okay. Two, in a daily stand-up, should stakeholders also join? This question is tricky. It's tricky in the sense that I will quote the fourth what is it called now? The fourth principle of Agile that says that business and development should work together daily. Now, daily stand-up, as we've all seen, is majorly for developers. They are the ones that owns that particular event. And it is not advisable stakeholders join. It is not advisable. However, if stakeholders have anything to communicate, we can work together outside of the Scrum, the daily stand-up. Like, if you don't attend daily stand-up, does that mean we won't get your feedback? We'll definitely get your feedback. One of the reasons why we don't want stakeholders to come and disturb us is to help the team focus. If a stakeholder join daily stand-up now and start pulling out some things that change the dynamics of things, it will unsettle the team. So I, as a person, I always encourage that, yes, business and development team should work together even daily, but please let developers, it is their meeting. let them have their discussion, talk about the work they are doing. If you now have anything that you need, you know is coming up, definitely we all communicate now. We can find other means to share communications and inspect. So, Tofumi, I hope I was able to answer your question before I move to the next question.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Apologies, I didn't know that you even dropped responses here. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, Oludare said sprint planning is very important. Yes, awesome. Very, very important. Sprint. All sprint events are important. Great. Sprint review. I know this person that says sprint review must be a product manager or product owner, because they are always very, very interested with sprint review, the product, the increments. I get that. Awesome. So all of them, the sprint is most important. Great. Sprint planning. Awesome. Yeah. Product owner, developers, and Scrum team. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, Tofumi has another question here. In a daily Scrum, is it okay for stakeholders to, okay, I think that's the question I answered earlier. Okay, good. I think I've answered all questions. Do we have more questions? Please. Yes. If sincerely, is it okay for dev team lead to facilitate daily stand-up since the meeting is for dev? I don't think there is anything bad with the dev team lead. In fact, in the actual sense, anybody, as you are part of that development team, you can facilitate the meeting. One of the things I try to do again is to, I did this at some point, pull in a developer that is always hiding, and let him facilitate, facilitate this session. It's not, nobody is the orga somewhere, you get. Even the team lead can facilitate as well. Even the team members, the other developers who are not team leads, can as well facilitate, and let the developer team lead, let him sit down and listen, or even contribute where necessary. Tofim, I don't know if I answered that question.
Yes, you did, but I feel if the team lead is facilitating the Scrum meeting, it might make the Scrum master more like dormant or somehow passive in the meeting, and I have a kind of
issues with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me come this way. I'll give someone else an opportunity to speak to that. But this is how I'll respond to your concern. In the first instance, the Scrum Master, if we go to the Scrum Guide, one of the things the Scrum Masters is expected to do for daily stand-up or Scrum events is to ensure that those events holds. Now, the reason why many times daily, I try to do this at times when I join daily stand-up. I tell the team, guys, I'm here, I'm listening, guys, have your discussion. But then it takes a level of maturity. Now, not all your team or developers are mature enough to facilitate that meeting. Because you, as the Scrum Master, you understand the stage that your team is. You know that your team is at the forming stage or at the storming stage. You won't leave them to facilitate it themselves. But at this point, you are helping them grow into it, at least to get to that stage of where they are norming and performing. Then you can leave them, sit back, and let them discuss amongst themselves. So I think Scrum Masters, we need to understand that it is not compulsory with facilitate, and it doesn't make us less a Scrum Master or less active or less a servant leader if we don't facilitate daily stand-up or daily Scrum. I'll let someone else, if anybody else has a contribution to that, please feel free. And this is where I practice my Scrum. Even if you are here, you are just attending, if you have a suggestion, please feel free, be courageous, rise up to the occasion and share your thoughts. Anybody? Yemi, do you have contributions to that? Let me see if I can call anybody on the call.
Okay. Hi, guys. That was an interesting question. So for the first one, for the old stand-up, where can stakeholder join? During my conversation, I mentioned that when for lean, for those that understand what lean is, there's something they call lean.
Hello.
Where you hear lean agile mindset, right? So lean is just like an English word. Let's say you want to reduce weight, say you want to shed out weight, you want to reduce. Yeah. But when you reach an organization, there's something called respect for people and culture. You might get there and you see that. Now I'm giving a real life example. You might get there and you see that all the developers, all the project team, product owner, everybody, they are on a call and they will be there giving updates. 30 minutes. This one is talking A, this one is talking B. Even the some of the executives will be there, right? Now, if you're as a scrum master, you're joining that team for the first time, what you have to do is you're not going to say or write on that call and say, sorry, oh, excuse me, oh, this is not what scrum is, this is not what it's about. The first thing you need to listen, you need to observe, you need to see why that is even happening. It might not even be a knowledge gap, they might be aware. They might be that there's trust issues, they might be that there are other issues, but if you don't get to the root cause, you might end up treating the symptoms, right? It does not matter even if you're a scrum master. Generally speaking, you should understand how to get to the root cause, then before you can treat, before you can say, oh, don't treat symptoms, right? Eventually, I realized that the issue was based on trust because the executive feels the developers have multiple jobs and they don't come to meeting until they come and probably, oh, this person is here, I need to be here, right? Then one of the execs said, before anything can change, he needs to see that truly people actually join these meetings willingly, right? Then conversations need to happen. You need to let people see the purpose of it. That is when you talk about respect. Respect is show up for your people, be there for those meetings, be available, right? Does not matter what you're doing. If you like, do 10 jobs. But if you're going to be if you're going to commit to us, commit to us. If you won't be able to commit, let us know. We can come a replacement. People don't like to be replaced, but when you come with those words, right? So sometimes you need to ease in to changes because change is hard. People don't like to change because you have to measure two things, right? No matter where you are or where you join them, the acceptance of the change. Oh, acceptance means, oh, I can hear you. I think you're right. But the next one is the willingness to change. Now they hear you, but they're willing to change. Then you look at that. You look at the things they can change, the things that they can accept. So over time, you change them, you measure, you let them come up with improvements for themselves. So don't tell them, oh, apart from telling them about the processes and what needs to be done, right? I think the second one was about, I've forgotten, I've lost it, Gabriel. Uh,
Yeah, the
if you
second
can.
was about the dev team lead facilitating daily scrum.
Oh, you answered perfectly, right? I once joined a team and the QA, she told me, she said, Scrum Master, you need to be doing this, you need to be everywhere, they need to see you so that they know that you're the Scrum Master, you're doing everything. And at that point, I didn't even stop her, I allow her to finish. Then I said, as a Scrum Master, I am not to even do everything. There are some things I need to do, and there are some things I shouldn't be doing. Now, if I am doing it, I'm leading by example so that you know what you're supposed to do. Else, you will not self-organize and you not become a high-performing team, right? So, and I mentioned that when I joined the team, yes, I lead the Scrum. Sometimes you even call out their names that, oh, Wale, can I have your updates? Sami, can I have your updates? Then one time I said, this is what's going to happen. We're going to go with the flow. Back end to front end to QA, you're going to call out your names and you're going to give the updates. I'm going to listen in because you don't report to me. Guess what? They had no choice than to listen. So you won't know when someone will call your name. Maybe you are even gone because and that flow moved in that way. And the next one was, remember, I was easing into it in beats. Like Gabriel mentioned, ensure they have the meetings, ensure they self-organize. How can you let self-organize? You're teaching them everything. Is the joy, like he mentioned, for Scrum Master to know that this team they are performing. But you will always need a Scrum Master because it's not just daily stand-up. There are other many things you'll be involved in, right? Most especially sprint planning. Sprint planning can be chaotic, especially you want to practice safe, right? For those that are just new, don't worry, you get it, yeah. Uh, and the next one, the next easy interview was I told them, today I'm not going to join the meeting because I need to be somewhere else. So I need you guys to self-organize. I didn't join. Guess what? I wanted to see what will happen. Then once someone texted me said, the meeting has not started though, right? Now that is good because I need feedback. I need to see why they are unable to do it and why they didn't do it. And when I joined later on, what happened? You guys are not talking. Guess what? They're used to waiting for someone to say, "Good morning, guys. Can we start?" Now that is you doing slavery work. That is not servant leadership anymore. Then you tell them again that, do you know this meeting is not for me? It's actually for you to communicate based on your sprint goal. Meaning, if you're working as a back end, front end is waiting for you to deliver something. Now, I need to hear where you at as a front end, if you're doing good, or maybe there's a challenge because I have a commitment. Now, that also helped with their mindsets, right? Then the next level, the next day, let's see what happened. Then they started discussing. Then they extended the time more than it should go. You go in, you join. So that is how you help your team based on what Scrum is, anyways. So yeah, thanks, guys. I think that's about it.
All right. Thank you
Well,
very much, Yemi, for that contribution. Yeah, you want to say something?
I said, go.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Sami. Please
Yeah,
go
good
ahead.
evening. Yeah.
Good evening. Yeah,
Please,
please
are
go
you
ahead.
hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, thank you for the training. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you for the training. Yeah, I noticed something. You know, can we, what's the difference between, this business analyst and scrum master, or how do they share their responsibility? I discovered that, you know, there's a company that I used to work with, and I noticed that all this work that this Scrum Master is doing is a business analyst that is doing it as a product owner. You know, is there a way, of probably, trying to say this is the responsibility of the Scrum Master, this is the responsibility, or what is different? What's the difference between a business analyst and or what are their job and the Scrum Master? Is their work the same, or what? Or the BA is just feel that he can do this Scrum Master work, and he's doing it, and he's doing it, and during our daily stand up, you know, I discovered that the developers at times, they normally watch people very well, your capability and all that. At times they can just feel that this guy is not, is not capable enough to to lead us, and they will start behaving anyhow and all that. You know, you know, if that kind of thing happen as a scrum master, what do you think? How do you resolve that issue? You know, and all that. And if you notice that if the developers, are not happy with you, there will be conflict. And there will be kind of uh, trying to discourage you to do your work and all that. In that kind of scenario, what do you think can happen so that you can get your respect back and all that? Thank you.
Okay, so I'm definitely going to share this question with others, but I would share my 2 cents. And I would say for the first one, Richard, do you want to take a shot at it?
Yes, I can go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, David. I think first of all is to understand the role of Scrum Master. I'm just going to use what I have on my screen here to say, first, you are a facilitator, you are a coach, you are a teacher, and so you are not a business analyst. And if you look at Scrum roles, a BA role is not part of it. So you have product owner, you have Scrum Master, and you have the development team or the developers. Now, in a typical Scrum session, you're probably going to start a Scrum meeting, a daily Scrum, to say, oh yes, hi guys, let's assume you're in your forming stage, and you're just saying, hey, hi guys, we are here together, we are going to do this and that. There are basically three questions you are throwing out, or three things you are discussing. What has happened, what is going to happen today, and what next, basically. Here, you are not involved in explaining the requirements. There's a product owner there. And in this case now, we are not talking about business analysts. So it's the job of the product owner now to be able to interpret where the developers have issues or where they need clarity. The product owner might be on the session, it doesn't have to be there. If he's on the session, he should be able to explain. As a Scrum Master, you're just meant to facilitate that the session holds. And based on the several examples Yemi has given, you might not be there. That session must still hold, and it must still hold within the same time box. The product owner should be able to explain, where the requirements are not clear. You've raised the ticket, I want the login to be A, B, C, D. When the developers do not understand, the product owner must be able to explain that, this is what I meant. If you have to put in Figma links or design links for them to understand better, it will be provided at that point. Now, this varies based on organization. You can have a product owner doing all the jobs in terms of analysis as well. And in some organizations, you have a BA separately doing some of the research work, the documentation and everything together with the product owner. It all depends. But in Scrum itself, you wouldn't have a role called BA. What you would have is product owner, and he's going to be the one responsible for doing the explanation. If you're using if you're using a tool like Jira, the product owner would have done his product backlog and he would have left it there. The Scrum team now, or the development team, sorry, in case you're hearing the voice behind me, we are two here. So the development team then goes there and prepares the sprint backlog. These are the things we want to do now. That's why they are self-organizing. The product owner will not impose on them that, no, this ticket must go here right now. Yours is the Scrum team would have decided that this is the outcome of this sprint, and these are the tickets we want to do, and this is the outcome, and it moves on that way. Where they need clarifications, where they need anything to do, they can move the tickets down and say, okay, while another thing is that I think Gabriel mentioned the backlog does not need to have been completed. So as a developer, if I have something I need to work on, it's not clear, I move it downward. I focus on the ones that I understand very well and the ones I can pick on. The product owner needs to go back and ensure that thing is clear, well detailed, and the developer can pick up the work and carry on effectively. But in Scrum, to go back to what I said earlier, there is no BA title. It is the PO, who is the product owner. You have the Scrum Master, and you have the development team. So based on your question now, I believe you'll be talking about the PO then. Then the PO will be the one to clarify whatever that needs to be clarified at that point. If there are other stakeholders that need input, like you don't need to be a designer now. You need a design on Figma. It will be your job to go and engage your UI designer to get that sorted and get back to the development or to the Scrum team in general. I think I don't know if I've done justice.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I believe you did. Yeah. That's it. Thank you very much. So, to the second question, does anyone want to take it, or should I give it a shot? So, one of the things I would say is this: see, as a Scrum Master, and that's why some people would say that, or you would hear, some people would say that Scrum Master role is not an entry-level role, and the reason is because there are certain skills, transferable skills, that you need as a Scrum Master. You are a servant leader, but I think just like Yemi said, you are not a slave. And the way you position yourself, because your leadership you are a leader by disposition, so like by influence, the way you carry yourself, the way you direct things shows that you know your onion. And because you are also open, following the openness value of Scrum, it shows that you don't know everything. Now, when or if in a situation where a team member looks down on you, or maybe feels that, doesn't feel that you're able to do the job, and you know your onion, I think one thing that you can do is this. That person is entitled to his opinion. But then, first thing, you or yourself, you need to ensure that you know your job. Do I know, am I doing the right thing? Like, do an assessment of yourself. If you are doing the right thing and yes, you are on track, it could be a matter of you having a one-on-one conversation. I think I've even been asked in an interview before something where they said that, so if somebody raises a situation whereby I think has like a grudge with you or feels that you are not doing your job, would you let it slide? Or what will you do in such situation? And one of the things that I do advise is this: you can't impose things on people, but you can always make things clear. You can have a one-on-one interaction with someone to hear his opinions or to hear his pain, what he thinks is not right, or where he feels things are not going well. At that point in time, listening to that person, you might like have a peep into that person's view and see, oh, okay, this is where this person thinks we are not doing it right. And perhaps you can even use that opportunity to educate or reorientate that person that this is how it is done, in case you have another idea or thought as regard this is how things should be done. So with that can help you solve that problem. And with time, as you keep progressing, after orienting that person will definitely understand. Apologies. That person would definitely understand that, yes, I think this is the right thing, and this Scrum Master knows his job. And you too, you need to be sincere with yourself. If you know you need to upskill, learn, please be sincere with yourself, learn as much as you need to do to ensure that you don't keep disappointing yourself or your team. I don't know if anybody else has any other contribution to that before we start rounding up. I think at this junction, I would like to hand over to Yemi so that Yemi do the closing and answer other pending questions if there are any. So thank you very much, guys. Yemi, over to you.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Somi. Thank you, everyone, for that question. Firstly, I want to appreciate everyone for joining, and also Imeyreach team for putting this together. It's free. I know if you go out and take this training, you'll probably be paying a bunch, right? But that's good. Also, this is to let that tomorrow we're having a product class, and our trainer is very good. He spoke just not long ago. His name is Dapo, right? So for those that joined the Scrum Master class, I also shared the product, the link to join the product management class also, so we can also all benefit and learn, because eventually you might realize that this Scrum people are even talking about is even something I can really do. And I must say, right, it's a global skill, and it's needed globally. Product, Scrum, these are non-tech in tech, right? As you can see, I didn't say let's code, but as a Scrum Master, you're needed to be in a tech team, like to probably work with the tech team as a Scrum Master, an Agile coach, whatever. Or maybe you want to be in products, and you guys know that people are looking for products. So it's a good thing that you're in a WhatsApp group with people that are super experienced, that I've seen, worked in fintech, worked with startup, enterprise, and all of that. Aside from that, I appreciate everybody, and this is not the end of the class, and we're only going to be going with people that are really serious about the whole training. There will be more to come, where we'll probably have to dive in what happens when you do sprint planning. Gabriel has been able to give an overview, but some things happens during sprint planning. Some things happen even during daily stand-up, even the event sprint review and the sprint retrospective. They can be I think the next phase will be where we'll do specific trainings for the event, right from what happens during backward refinement and what you should do and all of that, because sprint itself is the core function. I think that's about it. Do we have any feedback from anybody in the house? Any feedback? Remember, to be a Scrum Master must be courageous. Feel comfortable to speak out. Feel comfortable to drop comments. You need to start practicing courage. Even if you want to be a product manager, you can't be timid and be doing products. Gabriel, I said Gabriel, am I wrong?
Hi, Amy. Please, I want to speak up now. Can I get this slide? Please.
Yeah, no.
Okay, Zeni, we'll get across to you. Okay, thanks,
Thank
Dapo. All right, guys, let's be
thank you.
courageous and let's do that. Thank you, everyone. We've used extra 60 minutes, and I believe it's worth it. It's been a fantastic class. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for taking time
Yeah.
out of your busy schedule. Thank you,
Hello.
Somi, and everybody. All right, guys, let's have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.